This is Sarah Poff, the Multimedia-Storyteller, and these hands are a gift from God. So I started a couple of minutes late here today, but we're just going to get right on task, and I'm going to show you the project that we're working on. It's right here. Cherry tree start blooming this time of year, and in Washington, D.C., there are beautiful cherry trees that were given to us from Japan. We have a sister city program near where I live in Independence, and I've helped some of the students make art, some of the Japanese students that come over here for an exchange. So they may not be coming this summer, but we'll see. So let me show you. I told you a couple days ago, if you happen to watch me, this is my all-time favorite tool. People throw this away. What is it? It's a black broken crayon. Now this one happens to be, and it's my favorite kind of black broken crayon, it just happens to be like a primary, the thicker kind. So that's the kind I like the best. I even buy some purposely that way so that I can cut them up. Alright, so what you do with this is you rub it. We're not really going to color to begin with, we're going to rub. So I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to push as hard as I can on it, as long as I can still make it go across the paper. So I'm going to do like this, and I'm going to make the letter Y. See how that's the letter Y? That's an easy way to remember to make the branches. There's all kinds of ways that they are, but this is just a simple way to kind of get in your head how to add more. And then each time that I branch off from this, I'm going to do the same. Now I'm still going to take my crayon, so I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to do a Y. I'm going to do another one. Then maybe I want to come down here and add a couple. And then, of course, I want to come up in here, and I want to add a couple. Now, there's more you can do to this. You can keep adding. But that gets you a pretty good branch. Or if you turn it, you can make it into a tree. I might show another day about a tree that way. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this crayon, and I am going to outline. You could get a different black crayon if you want, but I find if you tilt it up, and I usually have the kids do it because they already have this in their hand. And so if I ask the kids to use a certain kind of supply, I feel like that I should do that too. So what it does is it kind of gives it a dimensional look without too much work. Something that students have a hard time understanding the shading process. And so if I outline these, it starts to give that look. Sometimes there's a little bit I need to color in or add, or I can bring these a little bit more to a point, or just take them off the edge when they're big and thick like that. That might be a good thing. If you mess up, you just go with it. Now this one could overlap. So you can start to see how that builds up. So I've taken and I've rubbed this crayon across my paper. It's a primary crayon. Sometimes I had a harder time there at the end of my teaching in the public school to find them in a pack by themselves, and so sometimes they actually were called carpenter crayons. They actually were a little bit bigger than the primary crayons, but they served that same kind of purpose, because you can see how quickly we can end up with a branch that has some dimension with it. And could I do this with a paintbrush? Sure. But children, when you're teaching children, I always try to give them ways to make it where hopefully it looked better than if I'd given them with had them use other types of supplies. I tried to go with the skills they had. Okay, so then what I'll do next is I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to do the brown crayon. Now, I'm not going to take time to do the brown crayon for the whole thing. I'm going to color just one little section here, and then I'm going to show you some of the flowers. How are some simple ways to make those flowers. I don't know if you can start to see how this begins to have a little bit of a dimensional look, even though I didn't really work at it that hard. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to take, I've tried this several different ways. You could, if you're having a hard day, do markers. Let the students do markers, or students do markers. If it's a good day and you want to get a little messier, you can do some paint with it. Part of this is, just how you're feeling that day. I don't want you to, feel intimidated that I should have done it this way. You could do it with crayon. You can do it with colored pencil. If you can get the kids to do where it's more of a multimedia process, sometimes that makes it look better. Now, I'm going to try. My dad had all this beet juice at our house. And so I'm going to use it because I liked that color that it made. You can put a little red paint in there or a little red dye of some kind. I just like to experiment. Plus, this smells good. I don't like beets, but it smells good. All right, so then I'm just taking a swab. And just making little circles, 4 or 5. I'm sure if you went out there, you could probably figure out how many petals each one had. And you could do it that way. If you like to be precise, I like to be more artistic. I just go with kind of a look. One of the professors I had at college just always said, you gotta make it enough like it that you get the person to think that that's what it really is. And so that's always just kind of been my theory. You got to do enough, get it enough in the ballpark, enough alike it, that that you think that's what it is. Okay, in the middle I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to take time to do the whole thing. Maybe this is one that I come back tonight at that 8 o'clock time and I show you some of the other techniques that I've done. I don't know. I'm just feeling the need to reach out to people and maybe help them think about something else. Come alongside me. Maybe I'll teach them a little bit, encourage them a little bit as we go through this time together. All right. Now I'm going to get a great big brush because we're kind of looking at this as though, those leaves are way in a distance. We could draw some leaves and be a little more stylized. That's certainly a way you could do it. If you have elementary school children, sometimes that's a harder thing. Because they get a little, unless they really are into that detail, they get a little antsy on you when you're doing some of this. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. And then we'll come back with colored pencils and fine line markers, crayons, and see what we can do to kind of create that flower look, that rounded look without having to work too hard at it. So let me get my sample back in here. And I'm still working on it. I'm going to add some blue behind that so that the negative space doesn't fight with the positive. All right, this is Sarah Poff and those art hands. You have a great day now. I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Hi, Janelle. Good to see you today.